Stop trying.
After 1 year of laying dormant, catchers from all around the world have gathered here today for a chance of glory and for the beauty of performance. My name is Connor, I'm your host, and we've been preparing one spectacle for everyone here today. From map pools to originals to my favorite part, this curtain right here. This curtain took so much time to have made and organized, and it keeps this entire world on the opposite side. I'm not alone on this other side of the curtain, though. I'm here with Andrew Sekre, one of the greatest American CTV players to ever exist. How are you, Mr. Andrew?
Alright, you're glazing me up a little bit too much here by saying that, but I am doing just great here. It feels like it's been a while, you know? We haven't had many tournaments to, keep us going for the past year, but here we are, back with the greatest one of them all, Catch World Cup 2025. It feels good to be back, though. It feels great. I know for you, this is probably, very nerve-wracking. It's your precious little child, So,
I've been taking care of the precious little child for a long time, but it keeps growing up, and the stakes just keep getting higher. With our Qualifier Showcase, we're going to have 11 maps, and it's going to be just about the same as it has been for the past 2 years. And I'll talk about some of the structural points as well as the maps as we go along. One big clarification I want to make to everyone watching is to please read the wiki page regarding the rule sets behind qualifiers. It'll be the best way to have a clear understanding of how the lobbies will operate moving forward. With that being said, we can jump right into our Nomad 1. Alright, gonna start off with a Osu original, technically. Minstrel, Today is the Day, a collab by Spectator and Bunray. Surprisingly enough, we haven't seen a ton of collabs from them, despite their map styles really going so well together here. But
yeah,
overall,
it's one of the collabs that you really think would have happened a lot more, like just between the two of them, because they've been around for over a decade, both of them, right? But you don't have many collabs between just the two of them. Usually you throw Ascendance in there and you call like a mega collab, throw in Rakma, that's what usually happens.
Yeah, this guy knows. Given that this is qualifiers, we are definitely having a kind of long Nomad 1. Total drain here is going to be just about 420. And given the song, it hits you with so much, there isn't a ton of downtime in this map. So you're going to be going for a while.
Something that I'm noticing right off the bat here is that this is, I think, relatively high BPM compared to previous years' qualifiers Nomad 1s. It is at a 212 base, which makes a lot of these 1/4s quite a bit snappier than what we're used to, and we even see some of these burst patterns at 212.
That is something we will see a bit more throughout the tournament, is no mod 1s generally we're starting to try and have something that's higher BPM, just because of the common skill set that it is. And Qualifiers is no exception, but it's a bit harder to notice. This is something we'll see more so in later weeks of the tournament. Yeah, have quite a bit of drag streams here, introducing the Ki with the wiggles and softer anti-flows introduced here.
And not many people use those kind of streams anymore, and it makes me very happy to see them again. Also, a lot of these 1/4s are very snappy. When you have the 1/4 hyperdash into the anti-flow 1/2 hyperdash, those are pretty tricky to get down consistently, especially at a BPM like this.
Yeah, there's so many of those like one-off hyper dashes in this map. Definitely a pretty big skill check just with that pattern alone here.
Also, is it just me? I noticed the AR, I'm pretty sure we have OD listed at the bottom, which should be changed to AR, but I'm pretty sure it should be AR 9.8. Is that right?
Yeah, this is AR 9.8.
Okay. It is pretty high. I think last year, weren't we at 9.6 last year for the qualifiers no mod 1?
Yeah, we toned up the stats a little bit on this.
Oh, yeah.
Just from BPM to AR. The AR being a necessity just because of how dense the high BPM makes the map.
There we go. Now we got the CS and the AR on the bottom.
Boom! It's like magic. The power of the curtain.
Yeah, I wonder who's behind the curtain. You always have to have a nice long spinner at the end, the qualifiers. It's just necessary.
Yeah, the map's just so appropriate for it. Amazing SS replay by Beerus. Also the diff day before we go on, by the way. I don't know how they got the date right. That's really good. Good
Wow.
job, fellow mappers. Okay, No Mod 2 gonna have Co-Generate Fractal mapped by Rusty. Gonna be a similar BPM to No Mod 1 actually. I think it's the exact same. But the map's gonna be so much more dense with a lot more stacks and the AR being a notch lower, just at 9.7 instead.
Yeah, you can already see in this one a lot more burstier than the last one. We actually have more of these 4-note wiggles rather than the last one mostly focusing around 3 notes at a time.
This section especially, it ends on those, on that 2-note non-H dash. You're gonna have to be pretty snappy with those even if you don't exactly feel it. Oh, and I did forget to mention once again, this is technically another original made for Osu, the test tournament.
I feel like that's gonna be a recurring theme, is it?
It's something we didn't do a whole lot last year, and it is something we definitely could do a bit more.
Yeah, well, without, going through every year, you get more and more, so it becomes a lot easier throughout the years to get all the originals down and mapped.
For sure. Another spinner. Andrew has caught the theme. All right, and because this is qualifiers, we're going to move to our convert of the round, no mod 3. Going to be Miku map, Melee Meloid. Going to be CWC edit. Now, a change that we have made in this iteration is we have taken a bit more of a hands-on approach regarding converts compared to last year. Having a lot more people take a look at them and make necessary modifications to try and avoid really harsh patterns that would be considered by most to be RNG. Trying to get those out to create a fair experience seemed to be like the most viable option for us after last year.
Now, how far is the extent, would you say, that changes would be to give everybody a bit of a clearer picture?
I think with this map specifically, it was definitely one of our first attempts of doing this process, but if there was something that was way too harsh, it was very democratic. It would take like 6 people coming in and being like, no, this pattern is too hard, before we would actually change it, because convert patterns, like, it can be skill issue for one person, but very easy for another. So we have to be very careful when making modifications, just to make sure that we're not, like, killing a map with little purpose. So that was kind of our method. If there were 5 to 6 people that all said this pattern just isn't bearable and is way too easy to miss on, then we would make the change. With this map in particular, I think it was about 4 patterns?
That's not that many.
So we don't change a lot of the in-between patterns, only the real, like, must-change patterns we're just changing a bit more frequently than last year. The best way to describe it.
Talking about this map though, it seems to be mostly stream-oriented. The jumps themselves don't seem too far from what I've seen so far. A lot of the patterns, like these streams, about being on the right side of the platter when you're moving.
Yeah, a lot of soft edge dashes. This convert has a ton of those nice wiggles and taps for you. And because this is modified, we did receive explicit permission from the original mapper as well, and this will be uploaded by AFB. So yeah, I'm happy to have a Miku map in qualifiers. Gonna move on to Crowley Hidden 1. Jiraiya, risk. Keep gambling.
It wouldn't be a World Cup without a Crowley Hidden 1.
Now, luckily speaking, I know the diff name is Keep Gambling, but this map is not RNG. There are a lot of those large dashes in between these streams to keep you on your toes, as well as what you'll see, the occasional kind of crazy stack. but overall, very wiggly and kind of higher space dash hidden one. Also, I gotta say, I gotta thank Crowley for mapping this. This song has never been mapped on OSID.
Really?
And he brought it to the world with hit sounds from Midoriyan.
I love that little repeat section, by the way. He did it earlier too. It's always so nice to see repetition used like that.
Yeah, I love this map. I can't play it with hidden, but I can play it with no mod, and I love this map.
Ooh, there was some little 116 doubles in there mixed in as well.
Definitely a Crowley signature. He loves the
there is one signature missing from Crowley in this map, though, I will say.
Yeah.
The man in the background doesn't have a beard.
Yep.
Like, that's... I think we need... Like, he's even painting, man. Couldn't you have just, like, painted a beard on him and called it a day? You know? Wouldn't that have made more sense?
No, I think it would have. I should have held him accountable to that. That's the most
Honestly,
valid.
we need to go fix that right now before you submit the map.
Yep.
Just give him a beard. Yeah, and he has a shirt, like Ash said. Like, that's just... It's not the same.
Anti-Crowley.
This one is really long, though, it feels like. There's not much, like, rest time that you really get in this either.
Yeah, total drain is 320. There's the occasional build-up sections, and this ending section is pretty satisfying, but not super difficult. So that wiggles a little bit. But yeah, 320 AR 9.2. And thank you for the background criticism. I'll forward it over. Alright, gonna be Hidden 2, gonna be Sai, Tenimuo, gonna be our lower AR pick of the round, gonna be 8.2. And at least for me, being this, okay, it's gonna sound biased, but this is one of my favorite FDF maps.
Really? That's a pretty high bar, I feel like.
Yeah, FDF has made a lot of maps for the World Cup, and this one definitely has a lot of the kind of softly Ken-inspired streams where they're all kind of like tightly knit together with the Hyperdash separators.
Ooh, are those like 1-8 doubles I noticed a little bit of? I couldn't
Yeah.
tell.
Just a little. Just a little. Just like a lot of these areas of like soft precision right here. We have had Fob come on as a map pool selector for this tournament, so the bar that Hidden test has changed quite a bit. We're wanting to move away from simply testing having a map be at lower AR and actually be able to read patterns at a lower AR.
I will say though, this is still very mechanical, I'd say, especially for a Hidden 2.
Yeah, it has the tightly knit patterns paired with a lot of these kind of wiggle shapes as well.
Oh, like even that stream, there's gonna be so many people who miss on that little stream. Yeah, a lot of 148 BPM finger control.
and we're going to see the mix of the second PI more so in the last PI. And you do get a break. But
I think that's like the first one I've seen all pool.
I haven't been counting, but I think this is second. No Matsu.
Yeah, there has been one more, but it was also very short. Oh, somebody's missing. Somebody's missing here. Somebody is missing here several times. I already feel it.
Somebody with the FC run is just shaking right now.
No, if you're missing there, I don't think you have an FC run, sadly. This chorus seems like the harder one to me, rather than the first and the second one, interestingly enough.
Yeah, the spacing's a little wider, but overall, after you've played the second Ki, every pattern has been introduced to you. And you should be acclimated to a lot of the hard rock one-off hypers. I'm happy to see these guys finally collab, though.
Right?
Okay, Graham versus DJ Genki for Psychedelic Nova Trinity. Gonna be our slightly higher CS mechanical hard rock of the qualifiers pool.
Yeah, we go from probably a very horizontal focused Hard Rock 1 to what I'm assuming will be, in what I've seen so far, a very vertical focused Hard Rock 2. Just based on how Dust maps, very vertical usually in his mapping style. And you can already see that it's a lot more vertical focused than the previous one. Gives a huge difference in the feel.
Yeah, definitely a lot of like half dash shift element here. And I think the verticality does help with the overall tech balance, since this is also higher CS as well. Once again, this is the third one in the pool, but this is technically also an Osu original. Really love that theme this year.
We gotta keep a count of how many there are in total.
Yeah, at the end of the year, CWC had 25 originals.
Oh, leaked.
Not technically a break, but might as well.
Yeah, it's a nice little farm section. Then you get back into wiggle streams where usually you probably shouldn't miss in here, but it's so easy to just get caught out.
Start to gain the curvature here before ramping right back up. Gonna see the kind of like turnaround hyper slider introduction here in our last section of the map.
This is also relatively long compared to other Hard Rock 2s I feel like that we've had in the past. Almost 3 minutes long.
Yeah, tried to keep the pool of similar length to last year. We do like to make qualifiers just a nudge longer on average, just to ensure seeding and allow for that consistency to be tested, since the pool is smaller. All right, gonna be DT1. absolute banger song. Natsumi Itsuki Mayday.
Yeah, this one's going to be mapped by probably one of the most known DT mappers at this point, Verdi. Very known for making these kind of comfier maps for DT. It's going to be Air 8.8 before DT, I believe. Comes out to 10.2.
That's right. Yeah, map being at that rain level for DT. A bit of a nudge higher with some of these higher snap hyper dashes. But we did want to keep the AR at 8.8 to make this accessible to everyone playing in qualifiers, while having the map be a nudge harder than last year to compensate for this. Verdi is one of those mappers that can always be so consistent with his style to make a map that's so aesthetically pleasing and also just flows so well. Just really good at mapping this sort of thing. All right, that's going to be our DT1. Very consistent, very what you see is what you get. But it's clear what's expected of you. Okay, moving on to DT2, Cyclovana Black by AFB. This is definitely going to be interesting for those who have played World Cups previously, as most are used to this artist being in the hidden slot mapped by AFB. But he's taking a pivot to DT2 this year, wanting to make something a bit more control-based.
Something I'm noticing right off the bat is a lot of these jumps feel very far, like the 1/2 dashes.
Yeah, you have far 1/2 dashes paired by some shorter dashes as well. It's very big on the control here.
Yeah, even reading, honestly, even though this is Air 9.8, I think this is what before the 8.2. It's still very hard on the reading because of the patterns used and the spacing used. I think honestly this one might be harder to read than the DT1, even though it was higher AR.
Yeah, I will say the skills presented on this map definitely caused for quite a variance depending on who was playing it. So pairing this with Hidden 2, this could definitely be a practice map of the qualifier season. Also, given that it's AFB, he acquired permission from the artist once again to use this song. AF good.
That was also very fast. Wow. It's like I blinked and it was over.
Compensate a bit. Very difficult map. It's the same throughout the entire duration, but the duration is pretty short. And I can't believe it. I feel that way about the qualifiers map pool. I blinked and it was over. Now,
yeah, honestly.
With qualifiers in particular, as I iterated at the beginning, please check the OSU wiki page for CWC. Scroll on down the rule set for any questions you might have. I'll give a brief overview here with what will be going on during the qualifier lobby. Essentially, going to be all teams will play through this pool, and they'll be able to play twice at their designated time, and the team's best scores will be used. And each team must have 3 members playing a map. A 3-minute break is offered between the first and second playthrough, if you choose to take that. And all teams have to play in a separate room. Don't try to schedule with anyone else. And the scoring system we will use is %max. And I'm not good at math. I will, once again, tell you to check the rule page and it will explain it to you if you want to know exactly how your scores are weighed against everyone else's. Now, we do have a lot of teams this year. I'm sure everyone knows and has seen that going around. Only the top 32 will be able to advance. So do your best out here in these qualifying lobbies. It's going to be very exciting to see what teams are able to put their all and make it to the grandest stage. I know last year we had Iceland in particular being the most notable, but this year we definitely have more contenders due to how things turned out. So I'm very excited to see how that goes.
Yeah, we have so many more teams. I think this is probably, again, a record amount of teams. And also, I think we had a record amount of signups as well, since the COVID years, where, you know, obviously those numbers were a bit inflated. I'm pretty sure we even broke the record for that as well. So huge shout out to literally everybody who signed up this year.
Yeah, I can't tell you how excited I was personally upon seeing it. It was amazing to see how many people signed up. So yeah, thanks to everyone for joining the main event. That does it for me behind the curtain, joined by Andrew. Thank you all so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.
I do have one more thing to say though before we head out, is that in approximately 25 minutes there will be a showcase between the 2 Italian juggernauts, not on this channel, but it is one of the big catch events that is happening. So make sure you go check that out. I believe it will be on the Custom All Osu Twitch channel. If you play catch, you probably are familiar with it. Make sure to go check it out. It'll be between Kame and Arma. Nice little show match hosted by Trigon, one of the poolers this year. So make sure go check that out after this. I think that'll be all now. You can go finish with your little going behind the curtain.
Yeah, I'm excited for that match too. It's been building up on the catch Discord for a long time. So yeah, that does it for us behind the curtain. We will be back in a week's time to give the results, as well as round of 32 Mappool Showcase. See you all next week.